Hello, divine, infinite, joyful, eternal consciousness. Thanks for dropping by this video. Wow. So, for years, whenever I would practice self-inquiry, I would actually start to feel suicidal. And I would be, as a good Neo-Advaita person who I thought I was an Advaita Vedanta, but actually all the teachers and teachings I was following was Neo-Advaita. So as a good Neo-Advaita practitioner, I said, well, who is it that feels suicidal? And would try to observe and that would just make it worse and worse and worse. And then I would just sink down into misery. And ultimately, whenever I get really that low into suffering, I would always go into addiction. So for years, I was like, self-inquiry doesn't work. And I doubt I'm alone in this process or in that experience. I imagine there's literally millions of people who have tried self-inquiry and be like, it doesn't work. And they would be right if that was the teaching. But the teaching is actually to prepare yourself for self-inquiry and then undertake it. And so there's this idea floating around in Neo-Advaita circles that it's about destroying the ego or destroying the person and personality. Well, actually, that's complete. Well, I was about to say complete nonsense, but actually what it is that's not Advaita Vedanta. That is not what has been taught. Again, Advaita Vedanta is only about 700-800 years old, but Vedanta itself is thousands of years old. That's not what Vedanta teaches at all. So Neo-Advaita is just, we can say it's take in the context of Advaita Vedanta, it's just nonsense. But the other thing to keep in mind is Neo-Advaita, it really has nothing to actually do with Advaita Vedanta. It's kind of taken, it's like wearing an Advaita Vedanta costume, and that's about it. It's using Advaita Vedanta words and concepts, and yes, it's actually pointing towards the same goal, but the vessel it's often like it's offering, Advaita Vedanta, let's just say, is a smooth sailing ship. And then Neo-Advaita is like a wave runner, one of those things where and it's night and day. And so here we have it just becomes so clear, Neo-Advaita, there is no person. There is no and it's really fun. You go to a Neo-Advaita satsang and you'll sometimes get the teacher saying, there is no personality here. There is no person here. And yet the person obviously has a personality that they're just masking over. In fact, they'll get angry. Someone will be like, well, why are you angry? And the response you'll get is, there is no personality here. It's really funny. It's, if we don't drink the Kool-Aid, a Neo-Advaita satsang can be really funny and inspiring because they're going to talk about liberation and an end of suffering and eternal. They probably won't use the word eternal, but freedom. Like it's inspiring stuff, but it's the way it's taught is very deadly. And here's a prime example. Classical Advaita Vedanta doesn't seek to eliminate the doer. That's all the ego is the one who has a sense of doership and has likes and dislikes. Not the goal at all. The goal is non-identification with the doer. If you eliminate the doer, you'll die. Not obviously you, the self, won't die, but game over. You eliminate the doer, this lifetime's done because you won't eat. That's what happens to certain yogis who go into very high states of samadhi. They destroy the doer and they don't eat. They don't move. And if that's your goal, go for it. But most people who showing up at Neo-Advaita, like that's not their goal. They have a job and kids and a partner, if not, like they're not looking. So Neo-Advaita in a sense is kind of like not all, But any Neo-Advaita teacher who's teaching you to destroy the person, destroy the ego, it's suicidal, is what it is. Here's what James Schwartz, a classical Advaita Vedanta teacher, has to say on this topic. And this is from the book, The Essence of Enlightenment, and we're going to be reading from page 15. Non-duality does not mean that you will walk around in some kind of ecstatic, orgasmic spiritual daze, unable to distinguish yourself from the objects and the experiencing consciousness, the little you. It doesn't mean that the person you have taken yourself to be for so long is not there. You hear spiritual people saying that a particular enlightened being is so not there, as if that were a virtue in being non-existence. The person, for the record, the person, the one who you are trying to change or rid yourself of, remains when you know who you are, meaning when you experience full enlightenment. I'll read that again. For the record, the person, the one you are trying to change or rid yourself of, remains when you know who you are. It is just known to be an object non-separate from you, awareness. The person, the one that gives you so much trouble, is a problem only because you identify with it. When you understand clearly that you are not exclusively that person and identify with who you really are, consciousness, he, meaning this person, personality, ego, appears as a good friend, a toothless enemy, or at worst, just an amusing bundle of irrational tendencies. So classical Advaita Vedanta actually works with the doer. That's what karma yoga is all about. It gets the doer into shape so that it can live a balanced life, so that it can have a peaceful mind, so it can be a contributing member of society. And in terms of self-inquiry, the peaceful mind, of balanced life too, so it can do all these things so as to be able to experience moment by moment a knowing of its true nature, awareness. You don't try and destroy the doer, you get the doer into shape with karma yoga. And stick around, soon I'm going to make a video, another video about karma yoga. So Neo-Advaita looks good, it feels good, and ultimately it's just a part of Maya that is pointing us in the right direction, but giving us guidance that will lead us away from that. Thanks so much for dropping by. I wish you a day full of remembrance of who and what you are, and understanding of karma and dharma, that you can just go out and live a balanced, simple life to support the ongoing experience and knowing of the truth about you. Thanks so much.